and impartiality in the Nigerian judiciary. Together, we can all build the new Nigeria of our dreams. My name is Sunto Black, your amiable host for this edition.
So good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please, for the sake of our audience, can we get to know you better?
Okay. I am Mr. Juliet Isi Kairi. I'm a legal practitioner. I also am a politician, a farmer, and a civic education advocate. Recently, I ran for the House of Reps, Amakambuari Federal Constituency. And for now, we are involved in creating awareness for civic participation in governance and societal development.
Okay, thank you for participation in governance. How exactly have you been doing that?
Okay, because of the diversity, going to schools has really been Herculean. And so the social media has been one of the most important tools, and we could see the effect in the last election and what the social media did. So most times we are actually active on spaces, Twitter spaces, sensitizing the youth, sensitizing people in diaspora and also here in the country. And we believe that it has actually gone a long way, and most times attending to media channels, even on traditional media, radio stations, televisions, it's also a way I have particularly been sensitizing people on civic participation. But we don't know few, but the majority of the people of Nigeria has to really get involved.
Okay, I think you've been doing something wonderful and we should be proud of you. What has the funding been like for you? Because going to the media, going on TV, on radio and the rest, how do you source for the funding? Who's backing you up?
Usually I do not go and source for the media source for me. So at that point in time, I do not actually need to spend money, because educating is also me investing my own time and resources, and time which one spent on media, in TikTok and all that, one can actually spend that.
So what has the reception been for you, trying to get people engaged? Can you say, the people has been so receptive, or has there been some level of animosity, mistrust? People feel like maybe you have your own agenda, you're just trying to push it by telling them to get involved. What has been the level of engagement?
We are at the point right now in Nigeria that you don't do it, it doesn't change anything for the person, like my own self. Even if I don't get involved, the situation still remains. But the thing is that what can we do to change things? And that's why we get involved. And the general perspective is, we've seen a whole lot of issues affecting the society, and one who lives in Nigeria will not tell me he or she is ignorant. So most times when you listen to me and hear what we say, it's not actually about personal aggrandizement. Because at the end of the day, if someone says go to your section, please go to understand your laws, understand principles that should guide society, understand that where your right stops, another person's own continues. It's not for money, it's all about making the society better, because as it is, the situation is affecting the rich, the average, and every part of the society. So if I don't do it, it would not even still change the fact that the society is the way it is. So for now, we just be contributing our own best, and so it's more like they are just hearing what most of their kids are not even saying, because society is so bad that a lot of parents failed in even educating their children about certain needs of the society, and it's already what it is. So you can't go back to those children who are already out of school. You can't go back and start telling them there's nowhere to meet anymore. Some people have where they meet, and some of these places they meet is the religious bodies. So what about when you don't have religious bodies to educate people? So it's not even us doing them a favor, and we need more people to educate these people. So instead of looking at traditional media that is just talking about policies that even the society are not even listening to anymore. So at the point in time is that some things are being said that are not necessarily said in the traditional media anymore. So the reception, we're not bothered about it, because a lot of people are now understanding that if you do not do anything, the society will crumble.
But back to politics and leadership, you ran for the House of Assembly.
House of Reps.
House of Representatives, sorry. And as a young person, a woman at that, what do you make of Nigerian politics after having contested? What do you think of it?
It's all it's something I saw since 2012 when I first participated in politics. When I mean participated in 2012, I was an ad hoc staff for INEC. So it was what we saw, the money sharing, the people not even knowing what they wanted to vote for. They didn't even know how to read manifestos. They didn't even know how to look out for candidates. The youths were not even participating. All is that they just go where the name or where the hype is. And so what I make out of politics is that because of the dilapidating state of the society, they had no choice but to get involved, because nobody is looking at you. If you don't participate, they said, the Bible says, while men were sleeping, the enemy were sowing tares. So it has become so obvious, and thank God they are already participating. And for me, it was not something rare. It was not something like I've not seen before. What I just needed to do was do my best. And now they are saying that, oh, how effective, we would have been carried away, because you're talking about rule of law. And all you were singing was just the presidential seat, executive seat. So that means what you're doing, you're telling the judiciary and the legislative to worship the executive, because to you, one person is going to serve as the messiah of everyone. But it shouldn't have been. Nigeria has credible people, competent people across all borders, carefully select. I think when we start having this organization, we'll start taking care of our home front, the grassroots, before we start looking at the national. I think that's it for me. So for me, it remains my mindset as it was before 2023, but my hope is that the enlightenment will go far and we will do better in next elections. I mean next elections, I'm not talking about 2027. We have state elections, we have area council elections, the FCT area council election, which Abuja people have failed over the years to participate. I hope they will get to participate, because some of them say they are not from Abuja. 100 days in FCT, you take care of your kids here, you go to school here, you do your business here, your tax are being collected in FCT, but it doesn't concern you. And then you want hygiene to be taken care of, the hospitals to be, who will do that for you? So I hope we get better, we start becoming more institutional, we start becoming intentional, and we become very participatory in the elections as we go forward. Just say experience will always be the best teacher. A lot of people are already learning that it's not all about money. Where your money where you think you've had lots of money, another person has longer. At the end of the day, what will keep us going is respect for humanity. And that's what will keep us together. So it's time to go to the drawing board, respect ethics, have values, have shared values. And I'm sure with that, we'll be able to have something, even the average, rich and poor will be able to come together because of that shared values and move this country forward.
Well, back to SRTV. It's safe to say you're almost like an ambassador for SRTV. Whenever we have things, you always come around, you support, you bring out your time, which of course is very, very, very expensive. You can't even afford it. And then you do this for us pro bono. You try to talk to people, you try to, so last time you were with the Miss Intelligence, you spoke to them about the need for women to get involved. For you, how has it been for you? Do you think, organizations like SRTV, we need to see more of them, or do you think probably it's just a waste of time for organizations to want to take up roles like this?
No, I wouldn't say. In fact, I'll start by saying it has always been a wonderful pleasure partnering with SRTV to support most of the programs. And like they always say, a drop of water makes a mighty ocean. We all need each other. One person, like I said earlier on, cannot do it alone. Whatever the thing is that we should have a core, and the core is that we are all promoting values. And that's something I appreciate SRTV for doing. And I know that, like other organizations, when we all come together, the knowledge is being passed, and before you know it, a lot of people, in fact, majority, democracy is about majority, the numbers. I'm sure before we know it, something will actually stick, and we all get it right someday.
Right, so before we close the interview, permit me, I've just noticed one thing on the top you put in on WILAN, Women Leadership Advancement Network. Can you tell us a bit about this?
Okay, yeah, it was recently we were actually
put together.
I think it's more of it was a program that started, and then it was inaugurated. Yes, that's right. We're all few of us women were inaugurated, women who ran, and so the essence was those few women who ran, and they reached out to and who had the continuous yearning for more participation in politics. But mentally, it was not financially. I will be very clear on that. Mentally, like you women, we got you. Emotionally, you're not alone. Do not give up. Do not feel like the storm was overwhelming and nobody supports you, we women will see you and we'll, don't relent, keep going forward. At the end of the day, it's going to make it something at the end of the day. So it's more of like an encouraging platform for those women who ran before, like myself and other women, to come together and then keep the fire burning. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Barrister Juliet.
Thank you.
It's been nice talking to you, and we want to say thank you very much for always making our time to come. And so even God bless you.
Thank
God
you.
promotes you, and we look forward at the next election to your success in the next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You cannot come in sluggishly with sluggish attitude and expect the men to give you space. It is not done. It is not a restaurant. You understand? And it's not a recreational.
Thank you very much. Like you know, this is the next President Reality TV show where we hope to groom the leaders of today that Nigeria desires of. Today we have a topic that centers around the judiciary. It's all about revamping the judiciary for unrivaled justice dispensation. To do justice to that topic, we have with us a barrister, a seasoned barrister, and also a politician. Her name is Ms. Juliet Ikayere. She is the managing. Thank you. She's the managing principal of Malcolm's J. Attorney, the managing director of Juliet Ikayere Foundation. In the year 2023, she ran for the House of Representatives under. She contested for the House of Representatives under the ADC for the Amak Buhari Federal Constituency. I would not go further into introducing her because she is here, of course, and she will do better justice. Her CV is too long and I cannot delve into it all. So please, with a round of applause and a standing ovation, can we usher her in?
Thank you.
Also, before she starts, we have with us too Comrade Dauda Kushu. Comrade Dauda is a judge on this show. For the sake of those of you who do not know, he has been watching your live stream and he's joining today officially to continue his assessment. And of course, he will be here to see what you've been taught and also to have a better understanding of the questions to throw at you. So please, Your Excellencies, I wish you a very good day, a fruitful session, and of course, like I always say, take seriously the network you're building here today. They will come in handy in time to come. Thank you very much.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's actually thank you. It's actually a pleasure to be in your midst. And the topic I was actually told today we'll be talking about is the judiciary, a tool for making the society a better place, and how the judiciary can help to actually shape the society. And I know this is a reality show that is engineered towards making the youths, because everyone I can see here are young people, preparing us, our minds for the future ahead, and also particularly what it means to even become a president. And I'm happy, yes, we already know what the Constitution says, the requirements for becoming a president, if we were to actually put it in its true perspective. And each and every one of us, I'm happy I can see young women, I can see young men. It shows that there's a gender balance right here. And civic things that the society is looking up to for us to be able to elect such a person as a president. And I would not really go far. I would still now put it in, how would I put now, let's what we're talking about, the theme of this program also marry out with the judiciary. But I would say that we have three arms of government, and the judiciary, the legislative, and the executive. And the president, which is actually the theme, is actually falls in the executive. And we've seen in the past election, some people charged, and therefore you have their matters tried de novo. At the end of the day, Nigerians are like, okay, we already know the EFCC or the various enforcement agencies have seen this person had alleged to have stolen this money, and at the end of the day, some matters, either the person is discharged and acquitted. So this actually has increased the sense of distrust in society, and it's not good. And it has a way of also playing its own role in politics. Before, it was the day-to-day activities whereby someone steals, someone commits murder, all those crimes and all. But you see the way law enforcement agencies toss around the matters, they do not carry out proper investigation. At the end of the day, bring to court the necessary evidence. So what I'm trying to say is that the judiciary is one of the most important part of society. If the judiciary is actually encumbered, the people will lose sense and the trust of even who they are electing. And now you know that even in the mouths of every common Nigeria, you hear go to court, because they feel that it's for the highest bidder. And as young people, that is not the path we want to toe. We don't want it to be that once you run elections, for example, I'll take myself into consideration. When I ran for elections, I was not the richest in the candidates list. Yes, I ran twice. I ran for the councillor. All I knew I was bringing to the table was clear manifestation, my manifesto, clear visions for what we actually want as a people in that particular locality. And the party saw it and said, okay, let's give you another opportunity to run for the House of Rep. Now, the essence for the House of Rep, because we see that in Nigeria today, we idolize positions, and that shouldn't be the order of the day. Instead, we should idolize service. Who worked best? Who gave the people more service? Who gave the people more of their energy, their skills, their resources? There are some people that are talented. So you must not necessarily be a doctor, a lawyer, but you are actually good in management. You're good in administration. You can be able to bring teams together and put them to engineer the right governance for society, development, and propel people to do great things. I think that's what we should actually be doing. But it has not been the order of the day. We see the young people now singing, or the older ones singing, how much does this person carry, how much bags, how much is filled in this person's account. And it should not be the order of the day, because if we continue like that, it actually deteriorates the society, and it will raise money all the time. I don't think we can have the Nigeria of our dreams. And the Nigeria of our dreams is that we all unite, irrespective of our culture, our religion, our ethnicity. We all unite to actually get, I'm sure we all know that the Constitution talks about issue of what they call it now, whereby all tribes, all ethnicity must be the national policy or something, whereby everybody has to be in every parastatal. Every ethnic group has to be in each parastatal. Is that? God bless you. Yeah. So Federal Character Commission. You know that those are people enshrined with the duty to make sure that all parastatals in Nigeria captures all ethnic groups, all ethnic groups, because that is the core value. Because it's before religion, the core is ethnicity. And so when we have people that believe in such ideology, the society will feel that they are carried along. And that is something that, if you are going into elections, you should be able to know that no other person is more Nigerian than another. And talking about the judiciary, I feel that at the point we are today, if the people already have the right perspective, the people can now drive judicial activism in order to reshape the mindset of the people. Because right now the mindset of the Nigerian people is dwindling towards the judiciary, that you cannot go to court and expect justice. Even looking at business, you see people cheating people, because they already know when you take this person to court, it's going to linger for about 6 years, 4 years. And that's why you see a lot of people take civil matters to the police, and this is not good. I'm just enumerating a number of issues that have made the Nigerian people lose trust in the judiciary. We have talked about the enforcement agencies not able to gather evidence in due time and in real time to be able to go to court and present this evidence, because all the court has to do is gather evidence together. Upon that evidence, they can be able to adjudge who is guilty and who is not guilty, or who is liable and who is not liable. And so these are just the power of the judiciary. But when the executives starts enabling or using money to bribe the judiciary, I think now we are now mixing. The judiciary will not serve as the watchdog anymore, and that is the point whereby as a people we need to start speaking against. We need to start, our manifestos need to carry this, that 3 arms of government must be separate, rule of law must continue to be enshrined in the country, and whoever is going to become the next president, it could be any one of us in this room, it could be legislators, it could be the chief judges. You all know that the most important thing that we're looking out for is ethics. Ethics are not money. For me, I think that our conversations going forward in Nigeria in every aspect should be, we need to build shared values than actually asking who is the richest. Shared values is what's going to take Nigeria forward, because as Nigeria is today, we are already multilingual, we're already multi-diverse with various ethnicity and various tribes, and therefore for us to be able to continue to remain as one, and for everybody to maintain stability, unity and progress, shared values among each other. And once the people already start embracing this mindset, it will also affect the judiciary, because guess what, the appointment of the heads of judiciary is the executives. In your states, the governor appoints the chief judge. In the federal, the president actually appoints the federal high court judge, and the court of appeal president, the president of Yes, the chief judge of the federation, the CJN. So these are actually within the purviews of the executives. And once we have the right executives on seats, they will be able to now sift the wheat from the chaff. And once there's organization from the top, it actually transcends to those at the bottom, because those coming from the magistrate, the cadre, different grand cadre, everybody, they already know this is what the heads of the judiciary are aligning themselves with, so they will actually work in that proper perspective. So I think for most of the conversation, it's just going to be, for those of us going into politics, for those going into various leadership positions, we should arm ourselves with the right value system, arm ourselves with the right ethics for service. I think we should actually be propagating the zeal, commitment and dedication towards service of the people of Nigeria. As long as Nigeria is united, as long as Nigeria is one, our mindset should be how to unify, how to lead a progressive nation and society. I think with this we'll be able to have just the little I will actually be sharing with us. If you have any other question, feel free to ask me and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Good day, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good day, my excellencies. I remain your excellency, Engineer Julius Chinyere, the Executive Governor of Imo State. Ma, I have a simple question, a question I want to ask. You made mention of something that drew my attention. You said the appointees, let's say the appointees, starting from the state, the governor appoints whosoever is going to be the head. Then from there, we go to the federal high, which is the president appoints the person who is going to be. Man, with these appointees, these people who are there making the appointees, do you really think that our judiciary today will be transparency?
Very good question, and I think that is why for us that are lawyers, we always say that law is built for, as the society continues to emerge, as the dynamism of society, law is meant to suit what the people actually want at that particular time. And if the Nigerian people, and because we practice democracy, and democracy is all about the majority. Now, if the majority of people say they do not like the fact that the executives begin to or have been appointing the heads of judiciary, which is causing the judiciary not to serve as proper watchdog, I'm sure that we can now start looking forward to constitutional amendments. And that is what a lot of people have been pushing. I also share my perspective with you. Yes, it's actually, in fact, that is part of the issues that's affecting the distrust in the judiciary going forward as a nation. We've seen that a lot of people now brag about how much they feel they are going to actually settle the judges, and this is not good. So if we actually look at it the other way around, I believe that if the NJC, that's the National Judicial Commission, in as much as they make recommendations to the governors or the president, I feel they can actually make room for people who are actually eligible, people who are actually competent enough, and they meet the requirements to actually appoint them as heads, and then remove this responsibilities. It will actually go a long way. And like, you know, constitutional amendment, like we all say, it's not actually for one person, two people to speak. It's actually for enough awareness, enough outcry of the people, referendum being done, various various conversations being held on these topics in various local governments of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's a good one because we already see that we are not having true and clear separation of power. In fact, I also believe that it will also go a long way that the people on their own choose who should represent them, and not see that once you actually vote for a president, you actually now automatically now vote for a local the House of Assembly member simply because he's in the party of the governor. I think these are where we have clashes. They do not then serve as watchdogs anymore, because even the people are aiding it. But in terms of the judiciary, I've given a suggestion that if we can have a constitutional amendment to reflect this, because the constitution was the one that actually made provision for this appointment, confirmation by the Senate, recommendation by the NJC, and at the end of the day, appointment by the president or the governor of a state. So if we can continue this dialogue, because the dialogue does not stop, and it does not start and stop in the room, it goes out to various places, and when people start knowing that truly we are not practicing true separation of power, because if we say we practice democracy, the identity of democracy is that the three arms of government should be clearly separate and distinct, that one serves as a way is actually taken into consideration. And we hope that even as they appoint continuously until the constitution is amended, those who they appoint will actually do the needful and will not actually do the biddings of those who appointed them.
Thank you, ma'am.
Take your own first.
In terms of delay while disposing a case, just as you said, that you find out 6 years, 5 years without the case being disposed, and we all believe that there are some of these penalties that are clearly stated in the Constitution, that even a layman can actually interpret that this is the penalty for such offense, but you find out that it has been delayed or has not been delayed. So, aside corruption, is there any legal provision that states that this penalty can be changed after the case has been disposed or been adjourned? Is there any provision that provides that it can be taken back or withdrawn?
You know, when you're talking about penalty, that means you're talking about criminal matters.
Yes,
and
yes.
So in such a situation, normally there are specific provisions for crimes committed, while there are some that there are opportunities for the judge to either not exceed a number, like for example when they say 7 years imprisonment at least. So for instance, in such a scenario, that penalty would not be less than 7 years. So there are ways in which they measure it, as long as the law provides the number of the terms that such person should serve, or the punitive measures that should be apportioned to such a person. But at the end of the day, there are also other provisions that make room for giving pardon. State pardon is also available. So if someone is actually sentenced to or convicted, such a person, according to the provisions of law, can actually be given state pardon, and at the end of the day, such a person will be discharged. That will be in order to tackle crime. Now, the longevity of matters in court, that is not within the powers of civilians, it's within the purview of judges. They have the discretion on, and the matters, how has evidence come before them. And that is why when I was speaking, I was like, even the enforcement agency, we need to work hand in hand. The executive has to work hand in hand, the legislators have to work hand in hand. Like for instance, in their committee of judiciary in various states. Now, the legislators have seen that over the years, people have been complaining of the backlogs in the judiciary or in their state judiciary. They can actually write petitions summoning the judge, the chief judge of that state, asking for quick dispensation of matters within their dockets, or if they are actually saying that they have limited number of judges, then they can now be call for more appointments so that they can actually help to relieve the burden on the judges present. So these are some of the measures we can actually take to reform the judiciary and also help to expedite justice in time, since already we know and the people already feel that, like I gave example of contracts, you can owe someone and the person feels, I beg, when you go to court it's going to take 10 years, anytime I want to pay I'll pay. 50,000 now looks like chicken change, because they say before you call police, that 50,000 you go don't spend them, use it and then sort out police. It shouldn't be so. But that's why it actually, we need conversations like this, not just in rooms. It has to actually go forward, and the people need to now speak about their pain, because this is a pain that everybody is experiencing. And when the conversations start growing, their state legislators can take it up, and before you know, the executive and everybody join forces together in order to make sure that there's actually a solution to such issues.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Mine is a comment and a question. First, on the issue of constitutional amendments to review the appointment procedure, which I think is stated in Section 153 of the 1999 Constitution, Article 1, where they give power to the National Judicial Commission to recommend, then the Senate screen and approve, then finally the President does the assignment of the appointment. Now, in one of the documents released by the United Nations, they said the wisdom behind that is the NDRD body in charge of judicial activities, so they know the person qualified for it. The Senate screen, because they represent every member of the public, because they cannot access the public. So every region, every constituency is represented. Then the president being the one with the executive power assent to it. So I think constitutional review, which will give power solely to the NJC to appoint judge of the Supreme Court, the highest court in the nation. I think then back to my question now, if the NJC should be given supreme power, don't you think with the way the public is slowly losing confidence in the judiciary, it will promote malpractices and then justice will not be dispensed adequately, because the public is not represented in the appointment of the judge, so it is independent. So why not we do what we want? Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you very much. You actually stated the actual reason, and it actually now brings to bear that the three arms of government are actually present in making sure that the best are selected, because from the recommendation to the commission and to the appointment, you see that there are watchdogs all over. But she talked about raising the issue of corruption, and we're looking at how best can we go. Yes, I know that these whole processes were put in place to curb corruption and malpractices, but I'm sure that's why I keep saying that if those elected or those put in position of power are not ready to actually square up and do the right thing, I think it's now time for civic activism, awareness, for people to now start pushing. But I think we have a lot of few people in the room dialoguing most times about these issues, and those we sent to represent are actually not doing most of the things we actually want, because like you said, they're actually to represent the constituency, the people, they are the voice of the people. But most time we don't have this advocacy in the house. And so where this is lacking, I ask myself, which way do we go? Because I'm not a member of the judiciary. I'm in the legal aspect, the legal profession. The judiciary are the judges. So we also are also limited. We can only profess solution. We can also advocate. We can actually write articles and recommend policies. But at the end of the day, these things still reside in the people. And I feel as long as it's democracy, they said a democracy is of the people, by the people, and for the people. So when we continue to have these conversations, we can now start making sure, because what I've noticed over the years is that when the people come together to advocate about an issue, you see those elected begin to do what is right. Even if they don't do it in all entirety, they begin to take shape. I'm sure. So I feel even if we don't go for constitutional amendment, I feel it's now high time the people raise their voice to make sure that there's awareness, and then they actually scrutinize. Even if they don't go to scrutinize in this committee, they can read, follow up, and see that this is where this judge has been lacking, and they're actually writing a petition to their state house of assembly to actually summon this person, because the legislators have the right to actually check abuse of power, expropriation of funds. They actually have the right to check out agencies and actually have the right to summon various aspects or parts of the government in order to put checks and balances in place. So the people also have their own role to play.
Hello? Are you done? No, you. Yeah. After him, then you.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, Your Excellencies. My name is Sanchi Pesovade, Executive Governor of Kogi State. When you were speaking, you said the judiciary at the hope of the common man, and that's very true. But I don't know, in Nigeria today, we've had issues where currently in Nigeria we have staggered elections, where you don't have elections in not existed at the same time. And we have like 5 states having an election at the same time with every other state. So, and that has affected the system. Currently in Nigeria, we also have like about 4 states that have issues with election, and we might even have to maybe have a new governor coming, and that will even affect the election cycle in the next 4 years. So, what do you think should be the solution to this? We have countries in Africa like Angola that have elections or election cases completed in 14 days. When in Nigeria, you have that's into 90 days, 120 days, and it's affecting the whole system. What do you think is the solution to that? That's the first question. The second question is, we said so many things about the judiciary and how we can make all of these things go. In a nutshell, how will you advise, or what do you think is the solution to sanitizing the judicial system in Nigeria to make sure we don't have issues with criminal cases and electoral cases in entirety? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brilliant question once again. I'll start by saying, I will start from your second question, where you were saying what can we do, like an issue of election, stagnation, and all that. In fact, 2023 has really been an eye-opener for people. I would even say that before now, aside 2019 judicial verdict, where a lot of people raised awareness of the Hope Uzodima's case and the Ihedioha's case, I know there were a lot of judicial activism, but it grew in this 2023. We had a lot of people saying all eyes on the judiciary, but this was not the case before. And it may have started small, but I think it's something that is going to metamorphose into something big, because over the years, we've actually had elections whereby we've not had a lot of people focusing on the aftermath of elections. The process of elections in Nigeria, I would continue to say, has been flawed from day one. The ninth collation, I am not in support of whereby people actually finish elections, they go home, and then you have few people go to some centers, money start changing hands, people start documenting, start manufacturing results. It has been like that over the years. It's just because right now we thank God for the social media, whereby we can have pictorial evidence. Before, there was no pictorial evidence. If you are giving your Form E8, that's what you're going to use. If you're not giving Form E8, there's nothing you can present in court. And all these are the things that your lawyer actually takes to court to be able to marshal out evidence in your favor. So, like I said, I think another awareness has to also go to the point of INEC, the process of elections. Some people don't even know where they're actually meant to vote, because all these things go together. When you know where you're meant to vote, the people also know that they have the right to manifesto to why they are voting a person. I think over the time, it has been who is more popular, who has particularly, there's a lot of division amongst the people. But I think that's why I said, if you can leave out all these factors and go to the major issue, which is about service and ethics, what you can actually give to the people in terms of service, not whose school fees you can pay or whose child you can feed, should be about how can you engineer development in that particular place. Remember, when we start having conversations like this, we then wake up the INEC, because at that time, they look at what happened during the 2023 election. They promised that they were going to upload it in real time, and at the end of the day, they're talking about the glitch, technical glitch. It may have favored some people today, it may have disfavored some people tomorrow, but it could happen to anyone. And at that point in time, we will now wish that I wish we change it when it was happening in the first instance. And if we've actually accepted technology as a people of more than 200 million people, and then we cannot actually develop a technology that can actually handle our electoral process, that alone is already something that the people should actually hold INEC accountable. Then for the judges, I would say it has been happening over the years. How then can we remove these people? It's still about judicial, it's still about activism, because we are not there, we all are not elected. It's only when we come together and mount pressure, when we say pressure, civil pressure, conversations, unified system of what are our points, outline them. But I don't think when everybody is talking, there's distraction. How then do you now get the government to even listen to you? People will be like, you are for these people, it's because you are from this place. So I feel when we unite as one and we know that these are the issues disturbing us as a society, it's even difficult for me to give you a solution. Why is difficult for me? Because it's democracy. One person, and even if one person standing alone, you can do your activism personally, but it will not go far than when look at what happens during election. If everybody gathers to vote, if the people guard that vote, there's nothing even INEC can do. We have a lot of elections that the most populous person in that constituency has won elections, and the INEC were overwhelmed. They were even restricted. Even the court. Let's take a look at what happened in FCT. There was no one religion that actually played a key role in saying we want to vote this person. It was not about one particular ethnic group. It was just the people of FCT that were saying they want to vote Labour Party, and they did. It was overwhelming. It was the highest vote in the history of FCT. FCT has never had such a high vote in its senatorial. I will just take senatorial or constituency election. I will leave out the executive. They've never had such number of votes since the existence of FCT. It was the highest. And why? Because the people just said they want to come out. So you cannot now oppress the people because they have gathered. Even to the collation center, they gathered and monitored the votes. They were not oppressed. And then when they actually have pictorial evidence to actually say we are guarding our from E8. And most time why talk always prevail is because they know who is who. Most time they know the community, they threaten, they send talk, but you cannot do that in FCT. You don't even know where the person is from. You don't even know the person's religion. You don't even know the person's ethnic group. Everybody is just all man for himself. And so it has been a blessing, but we also need to find how we can make it to strengthen it, because it's actually a blessing because you don't have one person dictating here. It's just because people wanted change and they wanted the full flow that way. So I think when we have a lot of people guarding our electoral process for the right reasons, not for the wrong reasons. The right reasons, we guard our electoral process, follow it to the end of collation. Because the collation, like I keep saying, if elections are not uploaded in real time, the collation center is the point for manipulation. And once that manipulation has been altered, taking from E8 to court is already there's an interference, an altered document. And we've not had, and this is already something people should actually call INEC for, we've not had in recent years INEC charging corporates of vandalism, of rigging, assault, violence. We've not had them charge these people, or we've not had any courts sentence such people to imprisonment. And this is something that the Nigerian people need to start making noise about, talking about, and holding the courts accountable to these things, so that our electoral process can be more sanitized and the people can trust in it. Because already the Nigerian mindset is that now who get the highest money go win election, and who fit pay judiciary fee with election, and it's not a good way to go. And when we start leaving the system, like I said, when men are asleep, the enemies are sowing tares. If you don't want to participate, there are people who are going to participate, and it's about numbers. You cannot take it away. Once they've manipulated our numbers, there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay, we close out the lady there. You then.
My name is Ali. I'm the executive leader of our community. Thank you very much for being with us today to share this knowledge. My concern is regarding the legal technicalities in Nigeria, because they used to say that the judiciary is the hope of the common man, but no, it is the hope for everyone, whether rich or poor. The legal technicalities has diminished the hope of almost every Nigeria. I don't think in Nigeria there is a moment that legal litigation, election litigation has increased more than 2023. And the eyes of every Nigeria has been on the judiciary. For example, there are cases that we might think are similar. For example, ranging from double nomination, the issue of party membership, the case of Peter Obi, Labour Party versus APC and the APC presidential candidate. We had a situation where the court said they have no any power to the party affair. While in the case of Gawuna, APC versus NPP, still it is different narration. So now what do you think should be the solution? Because legal technicalities has become a very significant tool in diminishing the whole even Nigeria. Most of politicians and even probably say, let me be declared as the winner so we shall meet in the and find my way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You've actually said something very important, and like we've been saying, for me, I would say one of the solutions is civic activism from the people. Also the lawyers, because I know it's also affecting us lawyers, because right now they're like, okay, it's your own profession. You people are the ones destroying the nation. So I would also suggest more lawyers actually come into the space of advocacy. It's actually, though I know that there's this issue of seniority precedence in our profession, but it does not exclude the fact that a lawyer has the right to advocate, although we do not have the right to interfere in matters already in court or give we should give an opinion of the likely judgment. We can only give an opinion based on precedents, what has happened before, like you said, and then actually advocate in the right way for the people to know what is going on. But we do not have any right to actually lead the people towards thinking this is the likely outcome. That's something we are restricted as lawyers from doing. Lawyers, irrespective of who is paying you, because we know that lawyers have clients who are also politicians, and at that point you already put them at the bias. But if we can have more lawyers coming together to advocate these principles and actually helping to see each case from the other, bring it to bear the ratio behind it, that what would have held it the same way, I'm sure it's also a solution. So more legal activism as well as the people activism too. If we all can come together to actually discuss and advocate, it will heighten awareness of the people, and the people too will now also be more enlightened. Like I said, in 2023, a lot of people focused on the judiciary a lot than in the past years. They just left it for the elites, those who can read. But this time you don't see people who cannot even read. We're like, please, what is happening? How the matter they go? I think more interest should be in the judiciary, as well as, like I said, the first is the electoral process, because when people can protect the votes or rest in the judiciary. You see what's also happening in Nasarawa State. I'm not saying that violence should be promoted, but the constitution actually allows for freedom of association, freedom of movement, and right to speak, freedom of speech. So people can actually gather to actually say, this is what we want, this was what we did, this is how we want our governance to be. And this goes a long way, because around the world, you cannot close the people you cannot shut the people up. It's not possible. As long as they are not violent, as long as they are not involved in any violent means, people must continue to speak about this. It's just unfortunate that we see that technicalities has become the order of the day. I am not in support of technicality, although we know that technicalities has always been the thing that has trashed out a lot of cases and made a lot of the people's choice become the judiciary's choice. Why I would say the judiciary's choice? Because based on technicality, they did not really look at the matter based on justice. Because on the angle of justice, if the majority of the people had voted, particularly for a person, technicality should not override justice. The substance of the matter. Technicality shouldn't have overridden it. It should have been that let's actually go for the people, but at the end of the day, we can put this going forward, that this should be done, this policy should be put in place in that party, maybe double nomination, people shouldn't do it again. But if the people have voted more for a particular person, let that person be declared as the true winner of such election. But I know that when we start having conversations more like this, we will actually see progress.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Mr. Yakubu Jafogo, representing FCT. My question is like this. Is there any synergy between the criminal justice system with collaboration with the Nigerian Bar Association in facilitating judgment in our court, because the last time we checked in one of our custodial centers from the Northeast, more than 50% of those that are inside are either ATM or ATF, that is awaiting trial male or awaiting trial female. This is my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Usually the NBA have a sector that actually goes to visit prisons within their branches, because the NBA is segmented into the different branches, because you cannot put everything on the body of just the national alone. So those branches help to visit those prisons around their locality to see what is happening. But also there are also rules that mandate magistrates to go I think it's about 30 days, every 30 days, to actually visit people in the prison and find out matters that should be actually have been taken to court but are yet are not in court. And like I said, you're very correct. The NBA still need to actually put more pressure. But I don't know if you've noticed something in the Nigerian system. When you know that this is the person you go to every day to seek for justice, you cannot now, there's this fear that has come upon some people, the lawyers, to actually say hold these people accountable. But I think we should get to that point whereby in our profession we should be able to dispense with issues without fear or favor. We should be able to hold certain people accountable, but because of the distraction, there's no like I said, no shared value system. Because you see somebody advocating, you see other members of the bar telling you why are you attacking that person, you have an ulterior motive, maybe there's something you want to do that the person did not give you, so a lot of people feel, oh, let's make this magistrate, let's not hold this person accountable, and that is wrong. But I feel that for us to move forward, we should not be afraid as the NBA, because I am also a member of the NBA, the Abuja branch, Unity branch in particular. We should actually make sure we follow up with policies, how many people have actually been allowed to actually, their matters to actually be facilitated to courts from various prisons where they are held awaiting trial and all that. And this also should be replicated in states. I think also this is what the NBA president should actually be among his project, because I know the current NBA president has just next year until his tenure is over. These are some of the things that should actually be in most of their projects for the year going forward, to make sure that they should actually monitor people in prisons that are actually holding on and not taking their matter to court, have not actually facilitated trial, evidence have not actually been provided to make sure things foster relationship with the police, to make sure everybody work together to see that we don't have people clogging our prisons and also suffering unjustly. Because once you've not been adjudicated a criminal guilty, your rights should not be limited. It shouldn't be so.
Thank you very much. The last one, I said it earlier that she's going to be the last. Sorry. No, you. After you. Nobody.
My name is Jordan and I use one of the names. So I have two questions for you. A report by the Nigerian Institute of Advanced and Legal Studies shows that there are cases of up to or an average of 10,000 cases that are pending or awaiting trial. So my question is, what leads to cost congestion? And then the second question is, how does technology, or can technology play a role in sanitizing the judicial system for unrivaled justice dispensation, and how?
Thank you. This is something that has been coming up in most of our law weeks, talking about reforms, and usually our reforms is how we can actually involve technology. I know that to some extent, even the electoral process, even in the NBA, they have actually involved technology, because we may look at it as minute, but the people, the NBA is one place where I will tell you that majority usually votes. And when the people start trusting the system, we don't have people dictating for us, dictating who actually leads in the national level. And it's now actually cripple corrupt practices in the NBA. I know why I'm saying this, because at the end of the day, those people who are in the NBA, they play a very key role in also what you see what happened in the last election. When the NBA gave its own reports on the presidential election, you saw that a lot of people felt that, okay, the legal profession in terms of the bar has spoken. because once we vote you, you are like our mouthpiece. That alone actually fosters encouragement in our judiciary, because in every panel, in the appointment, the NBA actually holds a role, even in the in most of their NJCs, the committees. So it goes along. We are only talking about various stages that the NBA already will involve technology, but it has not eroded corrupt practices, but it's going to a large extent to enforce trust in those we are electing. So that's in the electoral process of selecting our leaders. Secondly, in terms of sending of mails to make sure that documents are fast-tracked to the judges, I feel it's not enough. It's not enough, yes, because it's more like we're taking baby steps. But some of these reforms have been taking place, but we need to still do more in terms of outlining or having a database of those, like, well, if I'm to get your point well, having a database of those that are waiting trial, their particular offenses, evidence that have been submitted, if to even aid the judge to know whether this matter, the police are actually doing what is necessary or they've abandoned this case. These are areas we should go to. We should now marry with our relationship as the bar with the technological experts, so that they can create a system whereby judges can efficiently fast track the number of people awaiting trial and see that their matters are quickly dispensed with, and if they are found guilty, they are actually convicted, and if not guilty, they are actually discharged and acquitted. So these are some of the processes, and I know that with time, as leadership changes, we will get it right. Like I say, it's also, the NBA also have a role to play, because they are actually the voice of lawyers. The leaders in the NBAs are the voice of lawyers, and also FIDA plays its own role. FIDA also finds a way to visit the prisons, to help women, indigent children, to see that we don't have a lot of young women, or old or young, in prisons not being catered for as it should be. Because even if people are in prisons, you should not subject them to ill treatment. They also have a right to life even while there, and there are some adequate requirements you actually need to do for them. So technology is very key, and I know that the NBA, with the right leadership, will go far. And I've just even enumerated some things that we can do. Database to capture, fast track, monitor the police, the enforcement agencies, and the courts, so that they can be able to work together to make sure people come to courts when due. If they are not coming to court, there are ways you can even track criminals that are even out there, because there are some people that they are not even awaiting trial. Their matters are just forestalled. They've actually committed murder. The police are actually requesting more monies from the victim's family, and then at that point the matters are forestalled. But when we have tracking of cases digitally, the judges can be able to say, okay, this is what we need to do. These are the things we need to cover this month, and we need to follow up with certain matters.
Wow, thank you very much. I think there was only one hand. I just want to, we're supposed to start by 3, give you time to fresh up before today's activity. That is actually what we have almost exceeded with over 10 minutes. I hope you understand why I stopped you, but if you can make it, say it. Sorry, please.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Excellencies. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I don't think I've ever had such gross knowledge of judiciary and the system. I am so grateful to have you. I want to ask a very quick question. For a cases where the police, there's a situation like a security issue or a kidnap issue or a fraud issue that is taken to the police station, and then you notice that most times they'll ask you before you put in your what do they call it? Before you put in your statement, they tell you must bring certain amount of money and all, and then sometimes you take it to the next. I've experienced, I'm using my experience. You take it to the next police station, probably a higher one, and they tell you the same thing over and over. I'm asking for this kind of situation, is it right? And then for individuals that cannot provide such amount of money and really need justice to be taken to take place on that in their situation, what are they supposed to do?
Okay, we take your question together. Are you okay? Okay. Sorry, please.
So you're talking about cybercrime, and that is actually within the purview of the enforcement agencies. It could be the ICPC, EFCC, and all that, and also police, because they also have their monitoring and anti-fraud department. Usually what I know is that, and I'm certain because some of their bylaws states that there is to be a 10% given to them, and that 10% is only at the point of recovery. Even the court also has their own recovery fee, the monies that they use, that the judiciary collects after recovery, and this is actually meant to be. It's not that you actually put a burden on the complainant who is actually bringing it's wrong. You cannot be putting burden, and sometimes they'll say bring fuel money, bring tracking money, bring this one. It's actually not supposed to be. But I'm sure that one way or the other, if we can actually, because the thing is that you cannot go straight to court, it's not a civil matter. So you need actually them to actually charge the accused while you are the complainant, the nominal complainant. And so it's now a matter against the state and then the accused, because it's a crime. So we're talking about cybercrime. So
domestic violence.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're saying domestic violence, okay, but I want to add this. For civil matters like contracts, someone owe you money, those matters are not for the police. You can actually go to court directly. It's a civil matter, purely civil. Now, domestic violence, they have the gender department, and now them requesting for monies, it's wrong. They actually how you can actually solve that is to actually maybe go with your lawyer, because most time your lawyer can actually interface for you. There could actually be statements put down, because most times some of these things are ignorance, or they know they are either taking advantage of the ignorance of the complainant, because they know you do not, the complainant do not know better. But when there's someone more enlightened that can stand in gap, it makes things, it fosters the matters quickly, and then they actually can. And some of the time, I know that a lot of people will say, okay, place a little money forward. It's not right. It's not right. And the only thing I would say is that maybe money is necessary for logistics, because in Nigeria, the way we are now, it's almost like survival. It's not a good thing. It's not even actually something you encourage. But maybe, for example, going to court, because if you want to start fighting the police at that point in time, I don't know if we will have any breakthrough.
You see why I asked you this question is because not everyone has the fund to give at that point. And there's some people that are in desperate need of help and judgment at that point, but then they can't get it because they don't have the funds and they cannot penetrate the judiciary themselves.
Yes.
And then situations another situation is that where people have issues or there's killing and all, and then the fear of going to police to report the issue, because once you get there, like something happened and there was crisis and someone was slaughtered like close to my hostel. But then, what do you do at that point when you know that, okay, you are going to the police, they will hold you bound, and you have to start giving statements for what you don't really know? How do we solve
like that gender issue?